Hello and welcome to Tina's Joyful Kitchen. I'm Tina McDermott, the lazy inspirational chef, teaching you how you can find joy in the kitchen, even if you don't know how to cook, even if you don't like to cook, so you can live a life that's full of health, vibrancy, and freedom. Free from diets, free from dis-ease, free from all of that stuff that we don't want. So on today's show, I am so incredibly excited. Of course, I'm always excited about talking about food and making food for everybody. But we're going to make Italian lentil soup. Why? Because A, I'm Italian. My parents are literally off the road Italian. And every year during the holidays, we have lentil soup because it brings good fortune. So I needed to teach the world how you can make wonderful lentil soup. The second thing we're going to do is make a turkey and cranberry salad with the leftover turkey. And yes, we're going to carve a turkey as well. All right, let's get started. I've got my wonderful pot here, and let's turn that on. And any good dish starts with some awesome organic olive oil. Make sure that you buy your olive oil organic and in smaller jars and darker jars, okay? People ask me, Tina, how do you know that it's good olive oil? When you taste it, you should taste a little rancidity in the back of your throat. Okay, I'm gonna get my induction burner going here, and there we go. All right, get that going. Nope, stir fry. A little bit of olive oil. I might need a little more, who knows, we'll see. And we're gonna start off with what I call the trilogy. If anybody knows what the trilogy is onions, carrots, and celery. I think which should be, what is when it's 4? I don't remember what you would call it if it's 4. So I'm just gonna peel the onion as the oil is heating up, and in my induction burner, it heats up really fast. So we're just gonna peel off all this paper on this onion and get rid of all of that, okay? I know in the past I've shown you how to peel an onion so you don't cry. And I'll just show you real quick. You get the root bulb and you cut that root bulb out. They say that if you cut that root bulb out, that you won't cry. I'm not promising you anything. Also remember, round things, you make them flat. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna score my onion so that my onion doesn't slip slide all over the place and hurt my little fingers. Grip your fingers, get the knife on the back of those fingers, and chop that onion. Chop it up, and that last piece that didn't get scored, just lay it flat. Don't even think about slicing it the other way because you might hurt your fingers. Okay, right into the pot. I'm a big fan of chopping as we go. My sister likes to chop everything ahead of time and then make the stuff, but then what are you gonna do in between as that's cooking? I don't know. I like to do everything as we go. I find it much easier. Also, never, ever, ever scrape up your onions with the knife. That's a no-no, okay? It will dull your knife. We do not want that. And in the pot it goes. So we're gonna put the onions, we're gonna put some garlic because I know the trilogy is the onions, the carrots, the celery, but I'm gonna throw garlic in there too. Why? Because every good Italian needs some garlic in their lives. Everybody needs garlic in their lives. Why garlic? Antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, raw garlic, fresh garlic, not the stuff out of the jar. Don't use the stuff out of the jar. I mean, you can, you'll get the flavor from it, but you're not going to get the immune boosting properties. And yeah, if anyone has ever heard of the green zones, has anyone ever heard of the green zones? Those are the parts of the world that live to be centurions, over 100 years old. Sardinia, part of Italy, is one of those green zones, and my father is from Sardinia. And how they live, they eat whole foods in their whole state. So get your raw garlic, throw it in the pot. And I'm gonna put a little bit more olive oil because those onions were thirsty. The onions were a little thirsty. We're gonna throw that in there. I'm gonna put a little bit of sea salt in there. Just a half a teaspoon. Now, you see I'm putting my scraps over here. If you have any clue what I'm doing, I'm giving them back to Mother Earth. Giving my scraps back to Mother Earth. She knows what to do with them. She'll make them back into soil. Okay, next we're gonna throw in some carrots, and we're gonna chop up a carrot right now. So I know I had them pre-chopped just to make things a little quicker, but let's talk about chopping a carrot. Look how pretty carrots. I love carrots. Carrots are absolutely delicious, and it's fast food in your refrigerator. It's fast food. You go in the fridge, you pull the carrot out, you wash it up, and then you eat it. Remember, don't wash all your vegetables ahead of time because it can introduce bacteria. If you do wash them ahead of time, make sure you dry them thoroughly and then put them in the refrigerator. Next, I want to make mention that round things, I want you to make them flat so that they don't roll around on you, okay? So they don't roll around on you. So you're going to make them flat. And maybe because I'm making lentil soup and it's a smaller little, you know, lentils are small. They're small little beans. And you want smaller little pieces of vegetables. I'm lazy. I normally don't care about the size of the vegetables. But with this lentil soup, because the lentils are so small, you don't want big pieces of vegetables on your spoon. So I'm going to do smaller pieces of vegetables. Maybe about a cup of carrots. It's maybe 2 carrots. Don't go crazy over it. Okay. And here we go. Get your carrots right in there. I'm used to a gas stove, and this is an induction burner, so it's a little different. So I'm constantly changing the temperature on it. All right. Next piece, we're going to use some celery, and I'm going to show you my very lazy way with celery. I opened it up and I washed it to make sure there was no dirt in there. This is the heart of the celery. And I'm going to keep it all together. Trim off the top pieces. You can use them for a stalk later if you want. I just give them back to Mother Earth. And here we go. Remember, crunch your fingers so that your fingers don't get in the way as you're chopping. Crunch them in, okay? Curl them in. Claw. Think claw. And we're just going to, that's my lazy way. Look at that. We're just going to chop that celery. You could do the whole thing of celery. You can do half of this. I like more vegetables the better because literally we need 10 to 12 cups of vegetables in our bodies each day. Believe it or not, each day we need 10 to 12 cups of vegetables. Okay, so next I'm going to get sausage. Why sausage? Because this is the way my mom has always made the lentil soup with sausage. So as I've got my trilogy cooking, I'm thinking, what is it called for 4 things? I don't know. My trilogy is cooking with the garlic, and I'm going to chop up the sausage. This sausage, I boiled it ahead of time. My mom has always taught me to boil the sausage ahead of time, gets the fat out and gets anything else out that you don't want. And I took the casing off, threw out the casing because we don't want the casing. And you can either crumble it or chop it into pieces. So it's already cooked, right? It's already cooked. And we're just going to chop it up and throw it right in there with the trilogy. Now, I want you to note I only put a half a teaspoon of salt in here because you could always add it, but you can't take it away. You can always add it, but you can't take it away. And sausage tends to have a little bit of salt in it. So just be careful with that. Now, you could also use ham if you want. My mom recently made some lentil soup, and she had a ham that she made. And she got the bone, boiled the bone, got the rest of the ham, chopped it all up into little pieces. And instead of sausage, she made the same soup with ham. Out of this world, incredibly delicious. Even with the sausage, it's incredibly delicious. This is one of my favorite soups that I make a couple of times a year, but absolutely this time of the year. Because why? Brings you good fortune. Gotta have lentils. Something about lentils and good fortune. So there we have it. Got all of our sausage in there. And now I'm gonna go wash my hands and I'll be right back. Anytime you touch raw meat, you want to wash your hands, and anything that had raw meat on it. I just flipped my cutting board over. No big deal. We'll wash that part later so we can continue to make our delicious soup. So just stir it around as it's cooking. Stir it around. It's stir frying, right? That's the temperature you want it on, a medium high temperature. What's missing from this is some pepper. I'm going to put some freshly ground black pepper in here. And if you wanted to, you can put peperoncino, which is a hot red pepper flake. You can put some of that in here as well. I typically don't put it in when I'm filming because I will cough. You can't have me talking and cooking and coughing all at the same time. But the peperoncino, my mom always used that because it pops the flavor. It pops the flavor. And when it comes to black pepper, always use freshly ground. Why? It's like using, that's it, the powdered garlic versus the real garlic, right? That's the difference. It's so much better. So much better. Okay, what else am I gonna put in here? What is it time for? You can start to see the onions are starting to turn a little translucent. I'm not sure you can see those. They're turning a little translucent, and that's where we want to get them to be. And next we're gonna put in, well, let's do the lentils next. There's no right or wrong about this. If you put the tomatoes in first, the lentils in next, there's no right or wrong. Today I decided to do these I think they're beautiful. I think they're beautiful. And green French lentils. These are small, tiny little lentils that are out of this world delicious, out of this world delicious. You can get the brown lentils. Don't get the red lentils because they fall apart, not for this particular soup. Okay, so we're gonna put maybe about 1.5 cups of some lentils in there. There we go. And the other thing that I wanna put in there is a bay leaf. Some people put the bay leaf into the cheesecloth and then put it in, but you can just fish this out. Lentil soup is not lentil soup unless you have a bay leaf in there. I toured Italy for many years. I was a bicycle tour guide, and I remember this one place that we stopped in. It was down in Abruzzo. Abruzzo is just very wild. I love Abruzzo. And I had the best lentil soup in my entire life. And there are these little small French lentils. I remember that. And I remember it was there was a lot of, in Italian it's called alloro, the bay leaf, alloro. I love that word. There's certain words in Italian that I just love. So we're gonna put the alloro in there, all stir fried up. Doesn't take long. Now we're gonna add in some tomatoes, okay? Let me get my handy dandy can opener. I like this can opener a lot because the lid will not fall into the food. It won't fall into the food. And did you disinfect the top of your lid? Did you wash the top of your lid? Most people don't. So that's why I love this, because it doesn't fall in, right? Also, when it comes to tomatoes, you see these are organic. They're diced tomatoes. You can get chopped tomatoes. It doesn't matter. But the idea is you want to make sure that the can is BPA free. BPA is a type of plastic that they line the inside of the cans with that is called xenoestrogens, could possibly promote some dis-ease in your body, okay? So here we go to some wonderful organic tomatoes. Listen to that sound, isn't that beautiful? My mom actually uses a lot less tomatoes than I do, but I just love tomatoes in my soup. She'll probably use 1/2 of that can, but I use the whole can because I love it. I absolutely love it. We're just gonna stir that about, and now it needs more liquid. And for our liquid, we're gonna either use a vegetable broth, but we already have meat in there, so we're not doing a vegetarian dish, obviously, or we do a chicken broth. You can even use a beef broth if you want it in this, it's fine. I am going to use an organic bone broth. Why organic? This is really important. Most stocks and broths have MSG in them. MSG is an excitotoxin that passes that blood-brain barrier, goes to the brain cells most susceptible and excites them until they die. All right, and it's non-nutritive. There's no nutrition whatsoever in MSG. It's just to make you want to eat more, to make you really love the flavor. So make sure you go organic. And if it says the word spices, autolyzed yeast extract, natural flavors, that all words that are MSG could be hidden under. The other thing, I like bone broth. If you're 40, 45 plus, we need a little extra collagen in our lives. And the best way to get collagen in our body is not to get a cream and put it on our skin, but to eat it, okay? Collagen is really good for, yes, our skin, but it's also good for our guts, okay? It's very good for the gut. It's very good for connective tissue. Very, very good for connective tissue. Okay, so be careful with, and you could use water and bouillon. Just make sure your bouillon is organic, okay? Make sure your bouillon is organic. So there we go. I'm gonna bring this to a boil, and then I'm going to let this simmer for about 30 minutes until the vegetables are soft, until the lentils are soft. 30, maybe 45 minutes, it depends on your stove, and you don't even need to stir it up any longer. Okay, we're gonna put the lid, not completely on it, a little ajar, and we're gonna let that cook for, again, about 30 minutes. So next, we're going to make a leftover turkey salad with gorgeous cranberries. Here's our leftover turkey that we just carved. Look how beautiful it is. It's so beautiful. And the aroma is, my husband says, I don't like turkey until I make it. And he goes, oh, I forgot I like turkey. Okay, we're gonna make our dressing first. And our dressing is going to start with some Follow Your Heart Veganese. This is made with grapeseed oil. It's not an inflammatory oil. It's a very neutral oil. It's an omega-9 oil, which is good for your heart. And you want to be careful with a lot of mayonnaises out there because mayonnaises have a lot of sugar in it, as well as inflammatory oils like canola oil, soybean oil, corn oil, safflower oil. They're very inflammatory. It's also not just the oil itself or the food itself, but it's how it was processed that is not very good for you. So I love this Veganese. Oftentimes I make my own, but I didn't feel like it today. We're going to use a little bit of Dijon mustard, a couple of teaspoons. Yep, that's my measuring. It's about a half a cup of the mayonnaise. My mom has always taught me to do things al occhio, which means by eye in Italian. And growing up, I literally cooked with a knife, a fork, and a spoon. We didn't have a lot of utensils. Oh, and wait a minute. And wooden spoons. We always had wooden spoons. Not too many measuring cups, and if we had them, they got lost, or my dad took them for fishing or something like that. So I really learned to just whip things together. My older sister, about 2 teaspoons of some apple cider vinegar. Rose, she's horrified when she sees me cook and I'm not measuring anything. She gets so horrified. It's kind of funny. I kind of like watching that. Okay, next I'm going to put a little bit of fresh chopped sage. Here's this beautiful sage from my garden. I started off with a little piece like this, and 20 years later I've got a huge pot. So if anyone needs sage, come to my house. I'll give you a piece. I'll give you a piece. Okay, so there we go. We're just going to get some beautiful, you can get powdered sage. Not a problem. Get some powdered sage. You'll get the flavor. When you do fresh sage, you can just see my heart just melting. It's wonderful. Fresh sage is just, if you can just smell it. It's spicy and fruity. I would say it's like a citrus kind of fruitiness to it. And I'm just going to chop. I have the wrong knife here. My other knife is in the other room, but that's fine. This one works just fine, my chopping knife. I'm just going to get it nice and fine. Again, if you want to be super lazy, I'm kind of lazy, you know, use the powdered one. It'll work just as nice. So go ahead and throw that in our dressing. What else do we want in our dressing? Some fresh chopped parsley. Okay, we're going to get some parsley. I'm going to take the stems, give them back to Mother Earth, and I'm folding up that parsley, and again, I'm just going to chop it up here. Yeah, my longer chef knife is a little more conducive to this, but hey, you can work a knife, you can work a knife. It's all good. It's all good. I'm just going to chop that up. Okay, throw that in there. And I think I want to put a little bit of salt. I think I want pecans for this one too. It's about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You know, yes, I have a 1/2 teaspoon measure in here, but you know, there's something wonderful about just feeling the salt in your hands and knowing what is a pinch, what is a 1/4 teaspoon, what is a 1/2 teaspoon. We're going to put a little bit of that. We're going to put a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. And there we go. We're going to mix that all up. You know, I got my little whisk out to whisk it, but the spoon is doing just beautiful with this dressing. There we go. Okay, so we've got our dressing, and now we need some, may I have some pecans, please? Before I get to the meat, I want to do all of the vegetables. Okay, we've got some chopped up celery. I'm going to throw that right in there. We've got some red onion. I'm going to chop up this red onion for us. I knew I had my paring knife under there. And Remember, if you don't want to cry, cut that root bulb out. Thank you, dear. I think the pecans make this salad. My sister always makes fun of me when I say pecans. Is it pecans, pecans? I don't know. I don't know. Round things, make them flat. I know, I didn't peel it yet, so I'm peeling this a little awkwardly because I don't need the whole onion. So I'm not going to take the peel off of the whole onion. I'm not going to use the whole thing, so I'm just going to leave the peel on there and put it in the refrigerator in a baggie or a container. And okay, so I think I want, how much onion do you want? Do you like red onions? Do you like sweet onions? Do you like the regular onions? Use whatever onion you like. This salad, I like red onions. Use whatever you want, okay? Here we go. We got, maybe a little bit more. Red onions are a little pungent and sweet all at the same time. I can't explain it. You just have to try them out. Okay. Since I'm making turkey salad, kind of like chicken salad, I want my pieces a little on the smaller side. You know, I'm lazy, I don't have everything perfect, and I'm okay with that. My sister, on the other hand, is not okay with not everything being perfect, but it's okay. She's not here. Okay. Remember, don't pick things up with your knife. Get a scraper and pick things up with your scraper. The other thing that makes this salad really yummy is putting some apple in there, adding some apple. You don't have to peel your apple. The peel is edible. Get some organic apples. Make sure you wash them nicely and do whatever apple you like. My favorite apple is a Honeycrisp. My second favorite apple is Fuji's. Whatever apple you like. My husband's favorites are Galas. They're good, but not as good as Honeycrisp or Fuji's. Everybody has their opinions. It's all good. So we're just going to chop up our apple. Remember, curl those fingers in as you're chopping. If you get to a piece that's precarious, be careful. Turn it over. Tell you, I'm not the neatest chopper, and that's okay. Doesn't matter. As long as they're in little bite-sized pieces. We're going to do a half an apple for this dish. We'll put all of that aside for later. We didn't need that. We had apple. Oh, and look at these beautiful cranberries. Slice your cranberries in half. Look how gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I think food is just to be savored and appreciated. I so appreciate cranberries. Any red foods are very high in what's called anthocyanidins that are incredibly good at going in and attacking free radicals. And in free radicals, if you know anything about them, they wreak havoc in your system. And we don't want that. And free radicals can come from the air we breathe, the food we eat, the drinks we drink, they happen. But these are wonderful anthocyanidins that help with free radicals. So is red wine, but the red wine comes with a lot of sugar. The cranberries don't come with sugar, but a lot of pungent tartness that I think is amazing. I think it's really, really, really good. And I hope you do too. Next, we need some turkey. You can use whatever turkey you want. You can use the breast meat, you could use the dark meat. You know, some people are dark meat people and some people are light meat. I like them both. I like them both as long as they're not dried out. And if you cook the turkey the way that I talked about cooking the turkey, I think I didn't tell you it was 325 degrees. You cook it low and slow. 13 minutes per pound is what I did. And I also checked it with that instant read thermometer. Always check it with that instant read thermometer because you don't want to take a guess on something that could make your family sick. You want to make sure that it's nice and cooked. And if you're not sure, it's okay. Cook it a little bit more. And the other thing is, most turkeys are already brined. So you don't have to worry about the brining unless you get a wild turkey. If you get a wild turkey, then brine it. Absolutely brine it. Okay, here we go. Look how beautiful this breast meat is. I put a little skin in there. It's not going to hurt you. Yes, it's a little bit of saturated fat, but we need saturated fat in our bodies. A little bit and at a constant flow, okay? A little bit and at a constant flow. We're going to do a little bit more turkey in here. Okay. I don't know, like 4 cups of chopped up turkey. you could also use chicken. You don't have to use turkey, right? You don't have to use chicken. Okay, or turkey, you could use chicken. Let's do one more piece. Let's get that piece in there. Okay, we got all of our turkey in there, and now we just need to put our dressing and the pecans, or pecans. I don't know, how do you say it? How do you say it? So we're gonna get our mayonnaise mixture. By the way, if you don't wanna use the mayonnaise, you could also use Greek yogurt. Unsweetened, plain, full fat Greek yogurt will do beautifully for this, okay? Here we have it with all of that sage and parsley. The apple cider vinegar. You could also use lemon juice if you didn't have apple cider vinegar. A little bit of mustard. Yum, 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 yum. Okay, I'm gonna get a fork. We're gonna mix all of this up. Maybe get a bigger bowl next time so you can mix it up a little easier, but that's okay. Like I said, life is messy. Wash your hands. It's all good. And you might think that you need more dressing for this. You don't. This is more than enough dressing. You just need to mix it thoroughly. And the tartness of the pecans, I mean the tartness of the cranberries really make this salad. It's like having turkey dinner in a salad. And look how many vegetables you're going to get from this. You've got the apples, well, the produce, I should say, fruits and vegetables. You've got apples, you've got cranberries, you've got onions, you've got celery, and you're going to get at least a couple of cups of vegetables in this dish. And you know, it will be lovely if you serve this over a salad. Serve this over a little salad, and there we have it. Okay, so let me put some in a little dish for us, as if we're going to serve it. And look how beautiful this is. Okay, so there we have it, our leftover turkey and cranberry salad. Here we are ready to serve the lentil soup. The aroma, I just want to live here. It's so good, I'm gonna cry. I went to a restaurant down in Florida and he was making all Italian food. And I ate the lamb and I was like, I'm gonna cry, it's so good. It's so, so, so good. All right, we're gonna get my beautiful pottery bowls. And we're gonna serve the soup. Always, my sister says, go low and come up high. You don't wanna serve the bay leaf, so don't serve the bay leaf, okay? Pieces of sausage in there. And this is how, look how beautiful that is. Look how beautiful that is. This is how we serve it in Italy, okay, or in an Italian family. You always have a dollop of fresh olive oil on the top, just a dollop, that's it. If you want, you can add a little more salt to it. Let your customer put the salt on there. You're gonna put a little Parmesan cheese, parsley I meant to say, as I'm looking at the Parmesan cheese, a little bit of parsley and some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Now, if you want to do things the lazy way, buy it already ground. It's fine. But I just thought it would look so pretty if I just ground it in front of you. My mom always gets big chunks of Parmesan cheese, and it's my dad's job to grate the Parmesan cheese every single year. But you know, there really is nothing better than, well, there are many things, but freshly grated Parmesan cheese is wonderful. Put that right on the top. And serve some on the side for your family who might want a little bit more, and clean up the plate a little bit of all that Parmesan cheese. And there we have it, our delicious, nutritious, fortune-bringing lentil soup with sausage. There you go. Now we have our turkey salad. And if you want, before you serve it and you want people to see how beautiful those cranberries are and give them even more pow of nutrition, throw a couple more cranberries on top, throw a couple more pecans on the top, or pecans, and there we have it, our leftover turkey and cranberry salad. Thank you very much for being here, And I look forward to hopefully you making a turkey and lentil soup and turkey salad and enjoying it with your loved ones. Thank you so much for being here. And until next time, namaste.